All right, so consumers in America are struggling. You know, we're all struggling right now. A majority of us. If you're not struggling, I'm hating on you, straight up. What you going? What you gonna do about it? I mean, but for the average American, we gotta chill out on the Jordans, on vacations. You know, I don't, I don't drink, of course, because I'm 20 and I'm a law-abiding citizen, and my name is Paul, and I went to Catholic school. But gotta chill on the margaritas, the whole nine. And in this video, I'm gonna tell you why. So inflation is running high, and that's just the increase of prices, right? So if bread was $2 last year and it's $2.50 this year, inflation went up 25%, right? Easy. So if inflation were to actually go up 25%, that would be crazy, right? But inflation should go up 2% on average. Like, it should be at 2%, but it's not. I think right now it might be at like 5, but at its peak, it was at like 9, which is way too high. But the Federal Reserve, aka the Fed, is the central bank of the US, and one of its jobs is to control inflation. So they have something called the federal fund rate, which they set. And the federal fund rate is the rate that banks can borrow from each other. So this is important because I have a bank, my brother has a bank, and now we have to pay higher rates to borrow from each other. Well, we're a business, so now we have to put that on the consumers. So that's what increasing the federal fund rate does to the consumers. And it's on purpose, because if the consumer slows down spending, right, that slows down economic activity. You know, prices cool back down. You know, we don't want prices to skyrocket, everything to be expensive, low communities to get hit disproportionately. We just don't want it. So the Fed has to kind of set this federal fund rate, and the federal fund rate last month was increased by 25 basis points to 5.25%, right? So what this does is it makes auto loans, mortgages, credit cards have higher rates to discourage the consumer from spending more, right? And we've seen this in retail. Macy's stock has slid because consumers are seeing that, okay, inflation was high, you know, rates are higher. We kind of got a budget, right? We're gonna buy the necessary items, food, water, the whole nine. But that jacket, I'll wait until next year to buy it. And that's a smart approach, right? Because that jacket, you should really chill out on that jacket and invest for now, right? But that's what consumers are doing, or they just flat out can't afford it, right? Because credit card debt is at an all-time high, right? And they're just like, all right, I really got to chill out right now, get back on track. So the discretionary area of Macy's doing terrible. They have a whole bunch of extra inventory. They have to mark down prices. So they had to cut expectations for sales and earnings, right? And the stock slid. We saw the same thing with Target. Their food and beverage areas went up, but the discretionary area down. Same thing with Home Depot. Home Depot struggled in the home improvement area, reported its biggest quarterly sales miss in 20 years. So consumers, I guess, did enough home improvement during COVID times. Now they're like, consumer debt in the US is at 17 trillion right now. You know, like I said before, like, Americans are just in debt. Student debt, that's a whole nother topic. You know, it's about $1.8 trillion in student debt right now. Pensions, that's another story. I heard the master investor off of Earn Your Leisure talking about this. he was talking about Chicago teachers that have pensions that may not get their pensions or something like that. But right now there's $1.4 trillion in unpaid pensions. And $1.4 trillion also makes me think of another number, and that's auto loan defaults. Auto loan defaults are skyrocketing, right? At 1.4 trillion. That's last time I checked, right? But that's crazy though. I think I saw credit card debt is at like $1 trillion or something like that, right? I could go down the list of different companies that have taken hits because consumers are spending less, but my last one is Burger King. But Burger King's kind of obvious just because, like, it's not really that good, to be honest. You know what I mean? If consumers are struggling, we're going to cook or go to Chick-fil-A. You know what I mean? And those of you that don't love yourselves will probably go to McDonald's. Say, no, I'm playing. That's a joke because I go to McDonald's, so I can't even front. But we're not going to Burger King. We're not going to Arby's. It's just not happening. If consumers are doing bad, right? The federal fund rate is rising and loans are more expensive, right? You say, okay, we're going to cook at home, or we're going to go to Chick-fil-A and at least get some real chicken, or go to McDonald's, get a little milkshake, cookies. Who's going to Arby's or Burger King? Taco Bell is like, some of y'all be going to Taco Bell, but it's just like, Burger King, that's anything. Burger King, so, alright, that's a little bit of my opinion, but Burger King is shutting down 400 U.S. locations. They might be going out of business soon. Like, that junk is disgusting, bro. Alright, that's a little bit of my opinion, but the last thing that I wanted to talk about is the housing market, right? So for the housing market, the Toll Brothers reported that 35% of the housing market is new construction. It's important to note that that number is usually about 10 to 15%. So we see with this aggressive rate hike cycle from the Fed, these homeowners, they're chilling with their low mortgages. They're not trying to go and get a new house when they already have low mortgages, right? They could get that later when that rate cools off. And last month we saw that with home sales. Home sales went down below expectations. It was expected to fall, but it fell a little bit lower than expectations. So I'm not really a pro with the housing market. I don't know if that's a decrease in demand, and then that could bring down the value of homes. I don't know if consumers are forecasting that homes will be worth less, and that'll bring down the value of their net worth. But let me know what you think in the comments. But that's really all I have to say right now. You know, the consumers of America are not in the best spot right now, and that was done purposely by the federal fund rate to try to cool inflation down. But you know, we can't see we can't say, oh, okay, at Macy's that jacket is on sale, right? It's on sale for a reason. I mean, demand is down because people are chilling out. Oh, that jacket's $80. I'm gonna buy it. Come on, like, I don't know. Do what you want though. If you want a burger from Burger King, go ahead. You know, go ahead. But don't say Paul didn't warn you. But anyways, I hope you learned something today. I hope you learned something about where consumers are at today. You know, I hope you don't go to Burger King. Yeah, I hope you learned something.